Hello students, welcome to 10th English Medium Science class. We are studying life processes. In previous sessions we studied about nutrition, how plants get their nutrition and how animals get their nutrition. And we also studied digestive system in human being, how complex food is converted into simple food molecules that can be absorbed by the small intestine and added to blood, and how the food is utilized in our body. So next life process is respiration. We have discussed about what is respiration, the process by which living beings utilize the food to get energy is called respiration. Respiration is an oxidation reaction in which carbohydrate is oxidized to produce energy, and this happens in cell organelles called mitochondria, where energy released is stored in the form of a chemical ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And we studied there are two steps in respiration. First, glucose is converted into pyruvic acid or pyruvate in cytoplasm of the cell, and then it is converted into energy in different types. In anaerobic respiration, like bacteria, this pyruvic acid is converted into alcohol and carbon dioxide and energy. But in higher animals, there are two types of respiration: anaerobic and also aerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, there is lack of oxygen or less of oxygen is supplied to cell. In that case, this pyruvate is converted into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. Very less amount of energy is released. But in aerobic respiration, there is supply of oxygen. All the glucose is converted into energy, and carbon dioxide is also released along with water vapor. So in this way, there are two steps in respiration. First, breaking down glucose into pyruvate. Pyruvate is nothing but pyruvic acid composed of 3 carbon atoms, and pyruvic acid is either converted into alcohol or lactic acid in anaerobic respiration and converted into energy and carbon dioxide and water in aerobic respiration. The amount of energy released in aerobic respiration is maximum. So we studied aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, where glucose is converted into pyruvate in cytoplasm, plus small amount of energy is released. In absence of or low amount of oxygen, anaerobic respiration and fermentation take place. Here lactic acid is produced when there is less amount of oxygen is supplied, along with that energy is released. This happens in bacteria or muscle cells of human being. And anaerobic respiration also takes place in very small microorganisms like yeast and bacteria, where ethanol is produced along with carbon dioxide and energy. And in presence of oxygen, aerobic respiration takes place, where carbon dioxide, water and energy is released. This is present in plants and animals. So we studied during anaerobic respiration in human being, in muscle cells. When we run fast or when we work hard, our muscles start paining. So that pain is due to production of lactic acid in muscle cells. So that muscle cells start acting. So they will release toxic substance and we feel pain in our muscles. So pain subsides after taking rest for some time. If you take rest, sleep well, next day you will feel again fresh. That lactic acid is removed from our body. Next, exchange of gases. We will continue with exchange of gases. For aerobic respiration, organisms need a continuous supply of oxygen. So aerobic respiration itself means respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. So this aerobic respiration provides a maximum amount of energy for plants and animals. To get energy, always a large amount of oxygen or adequate amount of oxygen should be supplied. And carbon dioxide produced during the process needs to be removed from the body. So when carbon dioxide is produced in cells, it should be removed because carbon dioxide is waste product in animals. It is useful in plants, but the carbon dioxide released during respiration is not utilized by plants. It is taken out from the atmosphere. So carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere again by plants when they are performing respiration. Different organisms use different methods for intake of oxygen and expulsion of carbon dioxide. In different organisms, in unicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms, different mechanism is present to take in oxygen and to give out carbon dioxide. Diffusion is the method which is utilized by unicellular and some simple organisms for this purpose. So diffusion method, we have studied in the 9th standard about diffusion. What is diffusion? Movement of substances from higher concentration to lower concentration is called as diffusion. So there, if a substance is more in one place, it automatically moves to the place where it is in less amount. So that method is used by unicellular organisms for respiration. For example, you take amoeba. If there is lack of oxygen in the cytoplasm of amoeba, in outer environment, water, if there is more oxygen, so that more oxygen present in oxygen automatically enters into the amoeba. So if amoeba is filled with oxygen, it will stop the diffusion. So if amount of carbon dioxide is more inside the cell of amoeba, it diffuses to the water. So in this way, the substance oxygen, it moves from higher concentration to lower concentration, and carbon dioxide also moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this is called as diffusion. So in unicellular organisms like amoeba, yeast and other paramecium, euglena and unicellular algae, in them the respiration takes place with the help of diffusion. So in plants also diffusion is utilized for exchange of gases. In plants also there is no particular respiratory system. So here also diffusion takes place. The gases move from higher concentration to lower concentration. In complex animals, respiratory system does the job of exchange of gases. So as we move to higher organisms, multicellular animals, their respiration takes place with the help of a system, a specialized system called as respiratory system. Gills are the respiratory organs for fishes. In a fish, gills are present near the mouth. Water enters into the mouth and it comes out of the gills directly. Let this is the fish mouth, and near the mouth there are split. The skin is split into gills. So fish takes water from the mouth and it leaves. It sends out water from their gills. So when water is entering inside the mouth, it is rich of oxygen, and in gills oxygen is absorbed and carbon dioxide is added to the water, and that water comes out of the gills. In this way, fish use gills for their respiration. So gills are the respiratory organs in fish. The gills are the respiratory organ for fishes. Fishes take in oxygen which is dissolved in water. Gills are the respiratory organs for fishes. And availability of oxygen is less in aquatic environment. So breathing rate of aquatic organisms is faster. So if you observe, fish are taking in and giving out water very fast. They are always keep their mouth open. Continuously this water is entering inside and coming out of the gills, because amount of oxygen dissolved in water is very less as compared to the atmospheric oxygen. So this oxygen in water, it comes from the plants which are present in the water. Aquatic plants release oxygen during photosynthesis that will be dissolved in water. Atmospheric oxygen also dissolved in oxygen, but in upper layer of the water. So the amount of oxygen should be maintained in water by allowing to grow more number of plants inside the water. So amount of oxygen present in water is very less as compared to atmospheric oxygen. So breathing rate of aquatic organisms is faster. So this is important for examination. In exam they ask, aquatic animals breathe faster than human being. Why? So answer is, availability of oxygen is less in the aquatic environment. So breathing rate of aquatic organisms is faster. So they breathe fast and try to supply more oxygen. Insects have system of spiracles and trachea which is used for taking oxygen. In insects, there is a system of trachea. If you take example of a cockroach, in the body of cockroach, there is a network of vessels like this. There are pipe-like structures present inside the body of this cockroach, network-like, and these open to the atmosphere through small holes. Small holes are present. From there, oxygen enters inside and carbon dioxide comes outside through the same holes. So from atmosphere, they are absorbing the oxygen into their body in the trachea. So these network of pipe-like structures are called as trachea. And in some insects there are spiracles. So it is also same as network of vessels. They are small in size, they are called as spiracles. And some insects have such type of structure. They take in oxygen with the help of their trachea and spiracles. Terrestrial organisms have developed lungs for exchange of gases. So the organisms which are living on land are called as terrestrial organisms. So terrestrial organisms come in contact with oxygen. We all know that there is 16% of oxygen is present in the air. So that oxygen is utilized by terrestrial animals for their respiration. They have developed lungs for exchange of gases. So there are special type of respiratory system called as lungs for exchange of gases to take in oxygen and to give out carbon dioxide. These lungs are used. Availability of oxygen is not problem in terrestrial environment, so breathing rate is slower compared to what it is in fishes. So breathing rate is slow in terrestrial organisms as compared to aquatic organisms like fish. Why? Because abundant amount of oxygen is available in the air, so they take the oxygen slowly, because even one breathing can provide a lot of oxygen as compared to fish. Therefore, the breathing is slow in terrestrial organisms. Now we study human respiratory system. The human respiratory system is composed of a pair of lungs. These lungs are main important parts of exchange of gases in a human being. These are attached to a system of tubes which open on outside through the nostrils. We call as nose. Nose has two holes, and those holes are called as nostrils. Here we study structures of human respiratory system in detail. First, let us see the figure or diagram of human respiratory system. See, this is the human respiratory system. There is the nose. Nose has two holes. If you see your nose, it has two holes like this, and those holes are called as nostrils. And nasal cavity. So after nose there is a space inside the nose, that is called as nasal cavity. And then pharynx. Pharynx is the place where both mouth and nose connect with each other. And then larynx. Larynx is nothing but sound box which produces the sound. So we speak by making sound, and that sound is produced by this larynx. And trachea. Trachea is a pipe-like structure which connects the nose and lungs, and it divides into two parts. First trachea, second one is bronchi. So the one trachea divides into two branches, so that is they are called as bronchi. Again these bronchi are divided into smaller branches, and those small branches are called as bronchioles. And then these from outside, if you look, they look like bag-like structures, so we call them as lungs. So this all, it is enclosed inside the lungs. And alveoli, these bronchioles end with bag-like structures like grapes. It looks like a grape bunch, so they are called as alveoli. And there is one more organ which is made up of muscles, that is diaphragm. So this diaphragm moves up and down to help the breathing. When we take a stomach inside, it moves up, it pushes the lungs, and carbon dioxide goes out. So when you relax the diaphragm, it comes down and oxygen enters inside the lungs. So in this way, this diaphragm help in breathing. So let us study in detail the structure of respiratory system. First one is nose and nostrils. There are two nostrils which coverage to converge to form a nasal passage. So two nostrils present in our nose, they combine inside and form a single cavity called as nasal passage. The inner lining of nostrils is lined by hairs and remains wet due to mucus secretion. So inner layer of the nasal cavity, this is the nose, the inside there is nasal cavity. It is always wet due to secretion of mucus, and we all know that there are small hairs inside the nose. So that will help to trap the dust particles and pollen grains which are present in the air, and they help us to purify the air before it enters the lung. Nostrils, the inner lining of nostrils is lined by hairs and remains wet due to mucus secretion. The mucus and hairs help in filtering the dust particles. The mucus and hairs help in filtering the dust particles out from inhaled air. When we inhale air, it contains dust particles and so many heavy particles like pollen grains. These pollen grains which are produced by flowers, the reproductive cells, they cause allergy in human beings. So during the flowering season, many people suffer from running nose, cough and cold. So those pollen grains cause it. So these hairs will trap the dust and pollen grains and protect us from the outer environment. Next, further air is warmed up when it enters the nasal passage. So in nasal passage, blood circulation is fast. The blood moving in nasal cavity is fast and it is producing heat, and this heat produced in nasal cavity helps in killing the bacteria. So our body defense mechanism is natural. It is manufactured by itself. Next, we go to pharynx. It is tube-like structure which continues after nasal passage. After nasal passage, there is again a tube-like structure where mouth and our nose, they come open with each other. So that passage is called as pharynx. Next, larynx. This part comes after pharynx. This is also called as voice box. So it is also called as voice box. So it contains thread-like muscles. When air passes through this larynx, sound is produced. The threads are like strings of musical instrument. When air passes through it, they vibrate and produce the sound which we have studied in lower classes. And next, air goes to trachea. This is composed of rings of cartilage. Cartilaginous rings prevent the collapse of trachea in absence of air. This trachea contains ring-like structures inside. C-shaped ring-like structures are present inside the trachea. So what is the use of this? So when air goes inside, it expands. When air goes outside, it contracts. So if air goes outside, if it contracts, so that will block the passage for our lungs. So to prevent the collapsing of these walls of trachea, these C-shaped cartilaginous rings help. They prevent the collapse of trachea in the absence of air. You might have seen the water pipe. If you have used a rubber water pipe, when water is flowing through it, it is in good shape or it is expanded. So when water is removed from the pipe, it collapses. So similarly, this is also pipe-like structure, trachea. So when air is filled in it, it expands, and when air goes out, it may collapse. To prevent that collapsing, these C-shaped cartilaginous rings are helping us in the passage. Next, bronchi. A pair of bronchi comes out from the trachea. The main trachea, it divides into two branches because we have two lungs. One branch goes to one lung and another branch goes to another lung. So these branches of trachea are called as bronchioles. They are called as bronchi. Next, bronchioles. A bronchus divides into branches and sub-branches inside the lung. See this bronchus. Bronchus means which? This is trachea. These are bronchi. Bronchi is a plural word and bronchus is singular word. This bronchus again divides into sub parts and it again divides into again smaller parts like this. So it is, these are called as bronchioles. These smaller branches are called as bronchioles. A bronchus divides into branches. So this is a bronchus. This bronchus divides into again smaller branches and again sub branches, and those are called as bronchioles. They also help in passage of air towards main part of the lungs. Those are nothing but alveoli. So alveoli are nothing but the small balloon-like structures where these bronchioles end. Bronchioles end in the form of balloon-like structures called as alveoli. Plural is alveoli, singular is alveolus. These are air sacs. Sac means a bag. These are air bags at the end of bronchioles. Alveolus is composed of very thin membrane and is the place where blood capillaries open. So alveolus is very thin. It is made up of very thin membrane where it opens to blood vessels. Blood vessels are surrounded around the alveolus. This is alveolus where oxygen mixes with the blood and carbon dioxide exists from the blood. So in this place, when it is filled with oxygen, so it gives oxygen to the blood, and after giving oxygen, it takes carbon dioxide from the blood and sends out of the lungs when we breathe out. So in this way, every alveolus is doing this job. There are a large number of alveoli in our lungs, not one or two. So in every alveoli, this function is going on, giving out carbon dioxide and taking oxygen in the blood. The exchange of gases in alveoli takes place due to pressure differential. So pressure differential. When we breathe inside, oxygen, amount of oxygen is more and it fills the alveolus. So pressure of oxygen is more in alveolus, so it diffuses into the blood. And when oxygen is finished from the air, so the blood which is coming from the heart, it also brings carbon dioxide. So if pressure of carbon dioxide is more, it diffuses inside the alveolus and then it is released out through our nose. So in this way, exchange of gases takes place in alveolus. Next, breathing mechanism. How breathing takes place? The breathing mechanism of lungs is controlled by the diaphragm and intercostalis muscles. So here there is a diaphragm. This is nothing but a muscular organ made up of muscles, and it is a big membrane, a plate-like structure. And intercostalis muscles means rib bones. In our chest there are rib bones. So these rib bones are connected with muscles to each other. So those muscles are called as intercostalis muscles, rib bones, which are present in our chest. They look like this, and they are connected with muscles. They move up, in and out like this. So those muscles also help in breathing. Diaphragm and intercostalis muscles help in breathing. Diaphragm is a membrane which separates the thoracic chamber from abdominal cavity. Thoracic chamber means the chest. It is called as thoracic chamber, in which there are lungs and then heart and upper body parts. And abdominal cavity means stomach, the digestive system, half of the digestive system where it enters from the stomach to small intestine. Stomach is upside the diaphragm, but small intestine is down of the diaphragm, and that cavity is called as abdominal cavity, where small intestine and large intestine are present. When diaphragm moves down, the lungs expand and air is inhaled. When this diaphragm moves down, the lungs will expand and air enters inside the lungs and air is inhaled. When this diaphragm moves up, it presses the lungs and lungs contract and air is exhaled. So using this diaphragm, we are breathing air in and out. So that is called as breathing mechanism. So this is about respiratory system of human being. Here some questions are given. Let us discuss them. Question number 1. What advantage over an aquatic organism does terrestrial organisms have with regard to obtaining oxygen for respiration? So what is the advantage present in terrestrial organisms as compared to aquatic organisms? So we have already seen that aquatic organisms get very less oxygen, where the terrestrial organisms get large amount of oxygen. And aquatic organisms like fish, they breathe with the help of gills. So they get less oxygen and they have to breathe fast. But terrestrial organisms, they are exposed to large amount of oxygen, and they have specialized respiratory system called lungs and alveoli. So they breathe very slowly and get large amount of oxygen. Terrestrial organisms take oxygen from the atmosphere, whereas aquatic animals need to utilize oxygen present in water. Air contains more oxygen compared to water. Since the content of oxygen in air is high, terrestrial animals do not have to breathe faster to get more oxygen. Terrestrial organisms breathe slowly. There is no need of breathing fast. Therefore, unlike aquatic animals, terrestrial animals do not have to show various adaptation for better gaseous exchange. So, in aquatic organisms, different adaptations are made by the organisms. For example, frog, it has two types of respiratory system. One, it is having lungs, and another adaptation is it breathes with the help of its thin skin. On the skin, there are thin portions from where it absorbs the oxygen from water. So they make adaptations. In fish, there are lungs. In fish there are gills through which they breathe, and in whales are aquatic animals, but they have lungs. Then what adaptation is made there? Their lungs are very large. When they come up near the surface of water, they take in large amount of air and then they go down. So that will help them to breathe even inside the water for long time. So whenever they need oxygen, they have to come to the surface. So in this way, the organisms which live in water, they make different changes in their body. That is called as adaptation. So it is not necessary in terrestrial organisms. What are the different ways in which glucose is oxidized to provide energy in various organisms? So how energy is obtained by different organisms? We studied there are two types of respiration: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Glucose is first broken down in the cell cytoplasm into 3 carbon molecules called pyruvate. Pyruvate is broken down by different ways to provide energy. The breakdown of glucose by different pathways can be given in this way. So here glucose is converted into cytoplasm, glucose is converted into pyruvate in cytoplasm, and then this pyruvate goes to mitochondria in some animals, in higher animals like human. There is lack of oxygen. If there is lack of oxygen in human cells, lactic acid and energy is produced, and that will cause pain in muscles. And in presence of oxygen, if there is a large amount of oxygen available and we are breathing properly, then in mitochondria large amount of energy is produced along with carbon dioxide and water. So these two steps are called as aerobic respiration. These are called as aerobic respiration. And in absence of oxygen, like yeast and bacteria, ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy are produced, and this is called as anaerobic respiration. Here production of lactic acid is also anaerobic respiration, but it takes in higher organisms. In yeast and human muscle cells, the breakdown of pyruvate occurs in absence of oxygen, where in mitochondria the breakdown of pyruvate occurs in the presence of oxygen. Next, question number 3. How is oxygen and carbon dioxide transported in human beings? So how oxygen and carbon dioxides move or gaseous exchange take place in human being? So we all know that hemoglobin, a protein present in our blood, which is made up of iron compound, it is the main factor to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. Hemoglobin transport oxygen molecule to all the body cells for cellular respiration. The hemoglobin pigment present in the blood gets attached to 4 oxygen molecules. So one hemoglobin molecule attaches with 4 oxygen molecules that are obtained from breathing. It thus forms oxyhemoglobin. The hemoglobin attached with oxygen is called as oxyhemoglobin, and it goes in the blood, and we call it as blood becomes oxygenated. Means blood is full of oxygen when hemoglobin attaches with oxygen. This oxygenated blood is then distributed to all the body cells by the heart. So first oxygen is taken in the alveolus. Here you can see the diagram, first diagram. So oxygen is it enters into the blood, and this blood goes to cells, body cells, and it is given to the cell. Oxygen to body cells. Blood takes away carbon dioxide, which is the end product of cellular respiration. After respiration, this cell gives water and carbon dioxide to blood, and that blood again comes back to the alveolus, where carbon dioxide is given, and some amount of water vapor is also given to alveolus, and when you breathe out, this carbon dioxide goes to atmosphere. Blood takes carbon dioxide, which is the end product of cellular respiration. Now the blood becomes deoxygenated by losing oxygen and gaining carbon dioxide. Is called as deoxygenated. That becomes deoxygenated blood. Since hemoglobin pigment has less affinity for carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide is mainly transported in dissolved form. So this hemoglobin is not absorbing the carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is dissolved in the water present in our blood, which it enters into the lungs. This deoxygenated blood gives carbon dioxide to lung alveoli and takes again oxygen in turn. So in this way, oxygen from air enters into alveoli, then enters into blood, comes to cell, there carbon dioxide dissolves in blood and again comes back to alveoli, and it is given out. In this way, this cycle continues every time we breathe in and breathe out. How are the lungs designed in human beings to maximize the area for exchange of gases? So for exchange of large amount of gas, we require large area of absorption. So for that, the lungs are modified into different shape and size, that is nothing but alveoli. The exchange of gases takes place between blood of the capillaries that surround the alveoli and gases present in the alveoli. Thus alveoli are the site of exchange of gases. The lungs get filled up with air during the process of inhalation as ribs are lifted up and diaphragm is flattened. The air that is rushed inside the lungs fills the numerous alveoli present in the lungs. Each lung contains 300 to 350 million alveoli. So each lung contains 300 to 350 million alveoli. See those balloon-like structures, how many are there in number? About 300 to 350 million. So very large number of alveoli are present. So these are increasing the surface area for exchange of gases. These numerous alveoli increase the surface area for gaseous exchange, making the process of respiration more efficient. So due to those bag-like structure, large area can be placed in small area. For example, if you take a paper, so it requires large area. So if you fold the paper and make it small, it requires less area. Similarly, large amount of surface is packed in the form of alveoli inside the lungs. So this is about respiratory system in human being. So we will continue next life process in next class. Thank you.